Hey, afternoon, everybody. Is May 1st May Day or is it May 3rd? I don't know. Anyway, happy May 1st. It's Thursday. I had my follow up today. Yes, I can't drive a cement mixer, but there's reasons. I can drive a dump truck. I can learn how to drive the loader. It's the uneven terrain and the capacity of the job, which water and slippery surfaces probably not safe. Not that I can't climb it if it's dry and use a hose and things like that. It's the vulnerability of the graph that he used, the time frame. It's like the 6 to 12 week, 6 to 9 week, depending on how fast you heal or what your pain tolerance is, strictly determines how fast, you're going to heal from it. It also determines, the risk factor involved as far as doing something silly like slipping and falling and rupturing the graph, requiring more surgery or another surgery. And should I do that, or, my job puts me in the truck prematurely and I slip and I rupture it at the job, even though, I can climb up in it, and you need to be a little bit of a contortionist to get in and out of the seat because it's kind of awkward. But for the most part, they understand, so I can learn how to do the loader. Yay, which is something I've wanted to know how to do for about 10 years now. So anyway, moving on from that, ran across a post. And I mentioned something, and I don't know if I actually uploaded this thought that I had, but what it was in regards to we're reliving all this past shit. And here's why. Because a lot of this past shit was censored. Nobody could discuss it. It was like taboo, forbidden. Even on here. Couldn't say the V word and the A word together. Otherwise, went against community standards kind of thing. So the thing that kind of the root of all of it is a cognitive dissonance. You see, all of us who were questioning the narrative, called conspiracy theorists, have turned out to be conspiracy fact when it comes to certain things, like the Rona and the, medication that they used, the required treatment drug. Yeah, that one. You might want to look it up. I'm going to put a link below. And you will have to do your research because you'll have to find him and write notes and then go research each individual key thing like I did 4 years ago in the dark of night in a closet and discussed this stuff with my mother. Couldn't put it out on, any kind of, I probably could have put it out on Rumble or BitChute and nobody would have given a fuck. But the majority of the viewing traffic comes through YouTube. Anyway, so God knows how many have seen this. Who cares? Anyway, so little disclaimer, I cuss and I vape. I smoked for 35 years, vaping safer. I use nicotine salts. I order my stuff online from a vendor who supplies most smoke shops. I just don't travel to the store and get it. I order it directly. there's that. And so, the word of the day, or the phrase of the day, is cognitive dissonance. And what we are dealing with a lot of these TDSers. And the TDSers are like, they just fucking hate Trump, right? It's difficult when you've got a TDSer who is a Fauci lover and thinks that everything in the medical arena is, crowned gold gospel as it's published. Whereas I think Fauci's the devil, and I think a lot of the shit that they are promoting throughout the medical industry is a money grab. So, when it comes to the Rona and everything that was happening, you can put two and two together, and it is obvious, as the day is long, that anybody who got admitted for the flu ended up getting treatment as if they had the Rona and ended up dying in the hospitals. Most anyone else, including myself and a few others, did not either one get tested and they just said, yeah, I'm fucking sick, just stay the hell away from me, kind of thing, or they just sucked it up buttercup. A buddy of mine had the sniffles, went and got tested. They said that he had it. He said, I didn't have any symptoms. I came down with something over the weekend, right? I started to feel a little off on a Friday night. I don't know if it was on the hot dog that I bought at the gas station on the way to go see a friend who had come in from Nevada and wanted to, spend hanging out with her. Yeah, I started to feel funky at the bar, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna go. I'm good. Time to go. Right? And so, I went home, and that next day, I couldn't get my ass out of bed. And then I started to feel horrifying in my throat. Now, what was it? I have no idea. I know that I have stuff in my cupboard, and I started taking it, and I stayed in bed the entire weekend and just prayed that I would feel half-ass better by Monday to go to work, because I don't call in unless I'm bleeding from my fucking eyeballs, or if work tells me to stay home because I'm broken. That. I treated it with herbals, whatnot, and made this, I call it witch's brew. It's fitting because it tastes like total dog shit, but it'll kick a cold out of your system just as fast as the fucker arrived. It works. It's gnarly, but it works. Anywho, so the thing with all of the information regarding that whole span of the 2-year period, right? A lot of the people who were dealing with the crap in their region of the planet where it was the strictest were not being able, or didn't know anyone, or the communication was lacking, and you got a lot of people who are being woken up with facts and experiencing that cognitive dissonance now, because they realize that everything back then was not only a contradiction, but it was a manipulation of society all around. And it's almost like you just want to smack yourself. You're like, how could I be so fucking stupid? How could I buy into all that bullshit? How did I get here? Right? It's kind of like when, I first ran across, the discrepancies in the 9/11 investigation. Here I am, overseas, in the military, thinking, what the fuck? So this has all been bullshit. I've had friends die over this. The girl that got shot at Fort Hood, who was pregnant, who, she went on her R&R, and a couple months later, we were getting ready to leave anyway, in about a month or so anyway. But she came back and it was like, I think I'm pregnant. She took a pregnancy test and they put her on a plane and sent her home. And some lunatic at Fort Hood, whatever the fuck it's named now, I don't care, she got shot and died. At home. She did an entire tour in Iraq with me, hanging out. Yeah. Doing convoys. Because some lunatic didn't know the inside story. Yeah, and he was a psychologist. And he was an officer. Lost his shit over a conflict or a war that should have never fucking taken place. And the only reason we were there is because we scapegoated it. Our own government scapegoated it. Yeah. Government was lied to. So in order to get the hearts and minds and, the support of everybody, they decided to blow up Twin Towers. No one wants to talk about Building 7. What the fuck happened there? Nothing hit it. Things that make you go, figure it out. Ask the questions. Do the research. Anybody with an engineering minor who's done construction knows it was all bullshit. Because we know how the laws of physics work when you do, building erect structures. They just don't fall down in their own footprint. They teet like a tree. Yeah, shit goes everywhere. Educate yourselves. Okay, moving on from that. A lot of people are still in cognitive dissonance over that. When I discovered it, I went through a little bit of a mental break. That's why I did 16 and a half years in the military, and I didn't finish out the 3.5 to get a full ride. That's where my moral ethics come into play. So, we're going back in time about the COVID thing. We're going back in time about the 9/11 thing. We're going back in time about all of these different things that were hush-hush. And a lot of people who are starting to realize something just don't fucking add up, and they start doing the research, they go through a mental break. It's called cognitive dissonance. You half of your brain was told this and you believed it for so long. And now this half of the brain is woken up and you're like, how could I be so fucking stupid? And it's a struggle. I went through it with, I had religion, they call it religious trauma syndrome. It ain't like religion. I went through fucking cognitive dissonance. I got curious and I read the history of the LDS Church. Because I kept hearing stuff. I was like, is it true? Yeah, it's all fucking true. The only reason the LDS Church doesn't practice polygamy to this day is because whatever state government agency said that they're going to fucking lift their tax exemption. It all stops now, or you will pay federal tax. So God changed his mind. They had a conference. Quorum of the 12 decided that it was no longer allowed. That's why you got the fundamentalist sector. Those that did not agree with God changing his mind, they broke free from the originating sect and carried on with their weirdo selves in their only little additional sect. They moved out of Utah. I don't have a real bad thing to say about anybody that still is a member or serves within the LDS Church, because a lot of the people who are there, they find a sense of comfort in the environment. They're really good people. They're very friendly, and I cannot knock the fact that whenever there is a crisis or a natural disaster of something, they're the first ones boots on ground with semi-trucks full of shit to help everybody and anybody who needs it. You do not have to be a member. When your house gets washed away with a flood, they will be there to help you, feed you, keep you alive, give you provisions as a sense of comfort. They have huge warehouses full of food. So, there's no knocking the LDS Church in that regard. Now, they have changed a lot of things since I was involved with it. Since then, I had a very disgruntled disposition, because I knew when I was involved with it that I was blatantly being lied to. And since I have been resigned by proxy, my sister went and did it for me. Yeah. I don't get the knocks on the doors no more. I don't get bugged or called upon by any member of the organization. But yes, I did experience a lot of anger and a lot of frustration. And even though I was a smoker, and I know that's a bad thing in the Mormon church, kind of thing. And I drank coffee, and I know that's a bad thing in the Mormon church. But the beliefs and the appreciation for the organization in itself and how they worship and how they are dedicated and committed to that was bred in me. It was indoctrinated into me. I was in my 40s when I discovered the truth. That was painful. Even though I wasn't an active member, it was something that was a part of my family from the time I was born. Very familiar with it. The rules, regulations, and whatnot. And when I broke away, I had to, kind of relearn things. I literally was unable to see my daughter be sealed in the temple because of the rules at the time. There was no parental pass, even though you weren't a member, of being able to at least witness your child get sealed in the temple prior to the civil ceremony, which was a requirement. Now you can have your civil ceremony and you can get a parental pass to see your child or whatever be sealed in the temple if you are not endowed or have a temple recommend. It is a guest pass. Yes, they have that now. They didn't have that when my daughter got married. Oh yeah, I was a bitter bitch. It changed about 9 months after she got married, because the man who married her was the grandfather to the man she married. And he had brought all of this stuff to his attention. Said, this is wrong. And on behalf of me, they ended up changing it because he made it. No, this is wrong. Because I was not able to see my daughter get sealed in the temple. Even though I don't like the church. It's boring as fuck. I would never go to a service. My mother invites me to stuff all the time. The point is when you grow up with a certain amount of beliefs, or you are indoctrinated into having a certain amount of beliefs, or your brain is just programmed in such a way to accept whatever is being fed to you, as opposed to you thinking, for like, why does that sound contradictory to this? And then taking a break from whatever's been fed to you and going and researching the information yourself. That is what we have a problem with. And with the internet, there's no excuse. Now, is it a break in the intellect to where one cannot see the contradiction of the facts, or the contradiction altogether? Like, it was okay for people to riot in Washington State, but the kids couldn't go to school because they were standing too close together. The kids couldn't go to school because of that. But you could have mass packs of people tearing shit up. That was okay. Yeah, you had to wear masks to get into the restaurant, but while you were at your table, you could take them off. What fucking difference does it make? Drive-through onlys. Liquor stores could be open, but churches couldn't be. One day a week, couldn't wear your masks in service. But you could go to a restaurant, stand in line with a mask on, but as soon as you got seated, you could take them off. It's so fucking weird. Like, what the... Who made these fucking rules? You know, everybody else is locked down, but, you know, a congresswoman can go get her hair done. Or a governor of that same state could go and throw a party at some sort of French restaurant. But his own constituents couldn't leave the fucking house to go walk their dog. Nobody asks these questions. There are minds out there that are this programmed that they don't see the contradiction of the facts. They also didn't look up the medical treatments of the Rona. The side effects. There are doctors out there that had to go on private platforms, like open their own web pages and post their own video content in order to get the message out to people. And then there's some people who are so brainwashed that they don't even want to look at it. And even the truth being put in their face, they can't see it. It's kind of like a narcissist. And that's how they behave. Just like one. You can throw the facts at individuals like narcissists, and they will deny it to the death, even though the facts are right there in their face. It's like they're blind to the truth. It's almost like dealing with someone who is a Moonie. In my age, if you don't know who Moonies are, go look it up. It was a cult. And it was like human trafficking. And they went for people, you know, middle class people who were lost. And they, you know, promote them into, you know, taking care of them. And, oh, love and God, peace, love, dope, you know, shit like that. We garden, we take care of ourselves, you know. And, yeah, they get lied to. And then they extort the parents for money and stuff like that. Yeah, it was pretty bizarre. But anyway, Yeah, it was during the 70s and 80s. And breaking the brainwash of those people, they said it was phenomenal. It was like, how? That is what has happened with mainstream media. They have literally brainwashed a good portion of the United States and in the world, for that matter. It's all like Operation Mockingbird crap. And if you don't know what that is, go look it up. But there's no, I mean, the manipulation of the government system and everything that we've been dealing with the last 8 years it's eye-opening. Because I discovered all of the discrepancies of the truth just prior to getting out of the service. And that was the focus when I said, this is enough is enough. That 9/11 eye-opener was basically, why the hell am I fighting wars against people who didn't do anything? For people who are fucking crooked? And I've got an entire country back home that needs my help. I hadn't realized that maybe the help that I was going to be giving my country was going to be put on a platform on YouTube. Now, it's not focusing on like, oh, let's recruit a militia so we can have a revolution. No, basically it's getting into the inner psyche of people, that everybody has different elements of inner turmoil. And one of the things that a lot of people are probably frustrated with is the inner turmoil of having to accept the cognitive dissonance and how to deal with it. That is why the Bible and Jesus are so important right now. Am I going to go on a gospel thing? No. But when I went through my cognitive dissonance with the religious trauma syndrome, and on top of that, finding out the truth about our government and the CIA and everything else that was going on, this crooked element that has been governing us for God knows fucking how long, finding a network within a non-denominational Sunday gathering, at least, for like about a year, it brought peace. It gave me closure, acceptance, and the capability of forgiving myself for believing the crap that I was fed. But the only thing that I was not fed, that I even the 9/11 thing, I knew that was an inside job, but I just never knew why exactly. And then when all the pieces fell into place, that's pretty fucked up. I'll let you go find that out. Go digging. Because I spent 8 years doing that. 8. Yeah. Now it's your turn. But yes, you will get over it. Yes, you will find peace. And yeah, church ain't that bad. I'm not telling you become a full-blown Baptist or a full-blown Catholic or a full-blown Protestant or a Methodist. But the non-denominationals, yeah, they're very comforting when you're lost in the darkness, because the darkness will consume your soul. Because once you start finding out and you get that cognitive dissonance start eating at you, the bitterness The bitterness is fucking unrelenting. So yeah. Go to Barnes & Noble. Make yourself feel good. Buy a really nice Bible. You don't have to read it. Just hold it in your lap. Hold it in your lap a while. Find one with history in it. That's the one I got. It's like a $135 book. It's got all the history that aligns with the scriptures. Good stuff. Anyway, y'all have a great evening. Hope this one helped somebody.